read Legacies group of Alcoholics Anonymous. My name is Sandra and I'm an alcoholic. This is an open AA meeting. Non-alcoholics may attend open meetings as observers. The single most important aspect of AA recovery, however, is the principle of one alcoholic relating to another. Therefore, only alcoholics actually participate in AA meetings. If you are here seeking help for a problem other than alcohol, please see one of us after the meeting for a list of contact information for 12-step fellowships that deal with addiction and problems other than alcohol. The coffee bar is now closed. As a courtesy to the group, please silence all cell phones at this time. If you have a hard time hearing or are easily distracted, we suggest sit up closer to the front of the room. This puts you closer to the speakers and further away from the children's table in the back. Bathrooms are down the hall to the right. The Boy Scouts meet in the building at the same time as our meeting, so please be respectful of the fact that we are confined to the sanctuary and bathrooms only. Because this meeting is being recorded, out of respect for the love of tradition, we ask all who participate use only their first name. I've asked Ron to read the opening reading.
My name is Ron. I'm an alcoholic. What is AA? We of Alcoholics Anonymous are many thousands of men and women who have recovered from alcoholism. We have solved the drink problem. However, we believe that strenuous work, one alcoholic with another, is vital to permanent recovery. The purpose of an AA meeting is that of carrying the AA message to the alcoholic who still suffers. Therefore, we share our experience, strength, and hope to stay sober and help others to recover from alcoholism. Experience with alcohol is one thing all AA members have in common. Therefore, we have to confine our membership to alcoholics. Our membership ought to include all who suffer from alcoholism. Hence, we may refuse none who wish to recover. Nor ought AA membership ever depend upon money or conformity, regardless of age, gender, race, or religion. Any 2 or 3 alcoholics gathered together for sobriety may call themselves an AA group, provided that, as a group, they have no other affiliation, meaning we are not allied with any religious or political organization. We do not affiliate with other 12-step fellowships, the treatment industry, or any other institution. We do not wish to engage in any controversy, and we have no opinion on outside issues. We neither endorse nor oppose any causes. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. Each member squares his debt only by helping others to recover. In the words of Bill W., sobriety, freedom from alcohol, through the teaching and practice of the 12 steps, is the sole purpose of an AA group.
I've asked Ed to please read the 12 steps.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ed. I'm an alcoholic.
Hi.
Here are the steps we took, which are suggested as a program of recovery. 1, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7, humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. 8, made a list of all persons we have harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10, continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. And 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs.
I've asked Annie to please read the tradition of the month.
told, Alcoholics Anonymous has made the difference between misery and sobriety, and often the difference between life and death. AA, of course, means just as much to uncounted alcoholics not yet reached. Therefore, no society of men and women ever had a more urgent need for continuous effectiveness and permanent unity. We alcoholics see that we must work together and hang together, else most of us will finally die out. The 12 traditions of Alcoholics Anonymous are: we AAs believe the best answers to our experience has yet given to those ever urgent questions. How can AA best function, and how can AA best stay whole and so survive? Alcoholics Anonymous should remain forever non-professional. We define professionalism as the occupation of counseling alcoholics for fees or hire, but we may employ alcoholics where they are going to perform those services for which we might otherwise have to engage non-alcoholics. Such special services may be well recompensed, but our usual AA 12-step work is never to be paid for. Each AA group needs the least possible organization. Rotating leadership is the best. The small group may elect its secretary, the large group its rotating committee, and the groups of a large metropolitan area. Am I in the wrong spot? Oh, I'm already done. Sorry.
Thank you, Amy. This group places emphasis on helping new people feel welcome. During the break and after the meeting, please take a moment to welcome our newcomers. As a group, please make sure they do not leave without a newcomer packet. Is there anyone here for their first, second, or third AA meeting ever who thinks they may have a drinking problem? If so, would you please stand and introduce yourself by your first name? Is there anyone else in their first 30 days of sobriety? Would you please stand and introduce yourself? Is there anyone attending tonight that hasn't already introduced himself that is visiting or new to the Three Legacies group? If so, would you care to stand and tell us your name and the name of your home group? Hi, Cheryl. Tonight's format is we have a 10-minute guest speaker, a 5-minute presentation on the step, tradition, or concept of the month, and a 30-minute guest speaker sharing on what they were like, what happened, and what they're like now. Please help me welcome our first speaker tonight from the Monday, Wednesday, Friday Mooner group, Larry.
Isn't it great to be sober this evening? My name is Larry. I'm an alcoholic. The Monday, Wednesday, Friday Nooner at Riverbend Church has no other name as a group. Don't ask me why, but that's my home group. We're on Newport, a couple blocks up from the river. Come see us. It's a great meeting. My sobriety date is October 12th, 2007, and I'm a newcomer in that group. That's a fact. I have 10 minutes. I cannot tell you my story in 10 minutes, but I can give you a little bit of it. There's a saying that I think we all know. It's called faith can move mountains, or it says faith can move mountains. It's one I truly believe in, and it is a big part of my sobriety. If you give a man or a person a shovel, and they have enough faith and they have enough time, they can indeed move a mountain. Might take a while. Most of us have probably dropped dead long before it's done. But give them enough faith and they will keep at it until that mountain is moved or they're dead in their tracks. That's how faith works. For me, when I decided I needed to get sober, I needed to get into treatment, I was in Jacksonville, Florida. I had $42 in my wallet, a little bit of change in my pocket. I owned nothing other than less than what would fit in a JanSport book bag backpack. I had summer clothes. It was late September. I had Florida clothes. And I had been told that the best place to get treatment in the Veterans Administration was in White City right here in Oregon. I was homeless, I was destitute, I didn't have a car, like I said, I didn't own much of anything. And nobody wanted to have anything to do with me unless they were a paid professional and they were getting paid to have something to do with me. I have 4 brothers, I have 4 kids, none of them wanted to have anything to do with me, except for my oldest son. They all would talk to me if necessary, but only if necessary. So I had to get to White City, Oregon. I certainly did not have enough money for a bus ticket. So I had to hitchhike. I had no clue what was going to happen. I did not know how I was going to get where I was going. I didn't know where I'd sleep. I didn't know how I'd eat. I had no clue whether I would have to bathe in streams and lakes and ponds. I didn't know. Somehow, some way, I had in the back of my head this feeling. It wasn't major. It was not the big part of what I was doing. What I was doing was based on desperation. I was totally beat. I had no other place to turn. I knew I had to do something, but I had this feeling that somehow, some way, it would all be okay. At 59 years of age, I was going to hitchhike cross country, heading into winter, crossing 3 mountain ranges with Florida closed and no money. And I knew somehow, knew is a wrong word, I felt somehow it was going to be okay. I don't have enough time this evening to tell you about that trip, but I'll tell you this much. I didn't sleep on the ground the entire trip. I did not end up in treatment in White City. I ended up in treatment with the VA in Seattle. I did not miss a meal if I was hungry. When I didn't eat, it was because I chose not to. I got to shower on a regular basis. I even got to wash my clothes a couple times. So that feeling that I had that somehow, some way, things would be okay, worked out. It was okay. The only night that I slept on the ground was after I got to Seattle, the first night before I got hooked up with the VA there. That night I had to sleep on, and it was October, and it was cold, and it was rainy, and I had 7 t-shirts to my name, and I wore them all. And I was still cold, but I was there. So, I'm very sorry. I got into treatment. Didn't intend to stay. I had no intention of long-term sobriety. That was not why I was doing what I was doing. I was doing what I was doing because I wanted my life back. I wanted my relationships with my family back. I wanted a place to live on my own. I wanted to ride on my own. I wanted all the misery to stop. But I knew once I made all that happen by not drinking, I could go back out and do it right. There's no question in my mind. I drank for 47 years, and it was only the last couple that things really got totally terrible. There were times in between where it wasn't that good, but it didn't get totally terrible. So after a couple of months in treatment, I hadn't hit all my goals, needless to say, and I knew that AA was a place that I needed to be if I wanted to keep not drinking. So I started going to AA meetings. Getting into my first one was another story that I don't have time to tell you tonight, but it was fun. So I started going to AA, and I still didn't have any intention to stay, guys. But somebody told me that what I needed to do if I wanted to not drink at that point in my sobriety was to go to a lot of meetings and not drink in between. So I did that. I went to a lot of meetings. I had to walk 45 minutes each way a couple of times a week to get to meetings because of where the VA had me housed and what was available to me, but I kept doing it. And what happened is, along the way, you guys got in my head. You had something that it dawned on me I needed and I wanted, and you could laugh at stuff that I literally used to pray I would die over. And man, I wanted it so bad. And all of a sudden, that desperation, that defeat, those goals that I had that I wanted to hit, they were not what was important. What was important was getting what you had. So I started listening, and I started doing what was suggested. I got a sponsor. I started working the steps. I got into service. I started doing all the things that have been proven to work to get sober and stay sober in Alcoholics Anonymous. And I was doing all that not because I wanted to stay sober long term, because I still had in the back of my mind, once everything was good, I was going to go back out. But over time, as I kept working at the program, as I kept trying to do the next right thing, as I went through the steps, as my sponsor, thank you, Steve, made me when I was doing my 4th and 5th step and my 8th and 9th step, not just look at all my bad crap, but look at the good stuff. Look at the places where I had actually done the right thing and done it for unselfish motives. Look at the places where people that I owed amends to, I haven't been terribly terrible to them. I just hadn't been as good to them as I could be. And as this process went on, it became more and more obvious to me that my higher power was interfering in my life in a big way, and in a positive way. And that faith that I started out with, that little kernel in the back of my mind that somehow things would be okay, it started to grow and grow and grow. Our steps talk about it. Came to believe that a power greater than myself could restore me to sin. Folks, I had to have that. My power within myself was not enough to keep me from drinking. Absolutely was not. It didn't matter what the situation was, how dire the consequences, I could not drink. I was totally incapable. So I had to have a power. I had to have a power outside myself that was stronger than the power I had inside myself. But for me, the way I view that is that power outside myself awoke a power within myself that, with the help of you guys and my higher power, enabled me to not drink on a daily basis. And as that went on, what happened is I lost the obsession to drink. And after I lost the obsession to drink, I quit dreaming about it, and I quit thinking about it, and I quit being scared to death of alcohol. And today I'm not afraid at all. And I can go to a place where people are drinking if I have a good reason. I went to a ball game in New York City last month. Everybody around me had beers. The beer guy kept coming by, here. I'm like, what? Guess what? I don't need any. I don't know about you guys, I read our literature and certain sentences stick out to me. The one that sticks with me the most of all of them is the last sentence of the July 21st daily reflection. It says it has been proven that an act of surrender originating in desperation and defeat can grow into an ongoing act of faith. And that faith means freedom and victory. And that's exactly what's happened to me. I am free of the obsession of alcohol. I am free of all of the crap and negative consequences that went on for so long in my life because I couldn't not drink. And I have victory over all of that crap. So today, I thank all of you guys. My higher power and you, that's what keeps me sober. Because I have faith that this deal will work for me. I have faith that my higher power is on my side. And I have faith that if I need you, I can call you and you'll be there. Because that's been proven over and over and over again. That's all I got. And thanks for asking me to be up here.